Did you know your local store shelves could go empty practically overnight? Yep, one cyber attack, one port shutdown, or even one bad storm, and boom, your access to groceries is gone. Today we're getting real about something that could literally save your bacon. Stockpiling. And not someday, but now. We're breaking down the 8 essential grocery products you need to start hoarding before next month. No fluff, no overhyped doomsday nonsense. Just practical items that you'll kick yourself for not having when things go sideways. Stick around because we're also exposing the root causes behind food shortages and teaching you how to outsmart rising prices without going broke. Seriously, with inflation eating up your wallet and the supply chain as fragile as glass, the time to act is yesterday. Don't gamble on hope. Get prepared. If that sounds good to you, hit subscribe and buckle up. Let's get into it. 1. Canned goods. All right, let's cut to the chase. Canned goods are the ultimate pantry MVP. There's no fluff here, just cold, hard truth. You need to stockpile these bad boys before the next wave of chaos hits. Why? Because when the shelves are empty and your fridge is looking sad, canned goods are the rock-solid backup plan that won't fail you. Do not underestimate these little metal containers. They're not just random tins sitting on a supermarket shelf. They are survival gold. Canned goods are built to last. We're talking years or even decades if you store them right. Airtight seals and heat treatments make sure those veggies, fruits, and proteins inside stay fresh and ready when you need them most. Think of it this way, when fresh produce is gone, you'll still be dining like a champ. Stock up on essentials like canned corn, peas, and green beans. No washing, peeling, or chopping. They're ready to go when you pop that lid. Cravings for summer fruit in the middle of winter? Canned peaches, pineapples, or mixed fruit are your answer. And yes, they come bathing in either juice or syrup for extra flavor points. And what about meat? Bam! Here's where canned goods prove their worth. Tuna, chicken, or even Spam. These things are protein-packed lifesavers when there's no fresh meat left in sight. Stockpile them. Pro tip, canned chicken plus some pasta or rice equals a ridiculously easy filling meal. Low effort, big payoff. Speaking of history, these cans earned their stripes in World War II. Soldiers on the battlefield and families on the home front depended on them. There's a reason canned goods are the OG emergency food, and it still holds true today. Maximize your stash the smart way. Rotate your cans. Use the oldest ones first. Don't mess with dented cans. Toss them immediately. And get creative. Seriously, cans aren't boring when you can turn them into soups, casseroles, or hey, even desserts. Hello, canned pumpkin pie. Stop walking by those shelves at the store like canned goods aren't important. They are. Grab a few more cans now. They could be the difference between stress and satisfaction when the unexpected happens. 2. Rice. The ultimate survival food. Rice isn't just a pantry staple. It's your survival secret weapon. Seriously, if you're not stockpiling rice right now, you're making a huge mistake. Why? Simple. Rice is dirt cheap, endlessly versatile, and brace yourself, it has an insane shelf life. When properly stored, this humble grain can last 25 to 30 years. That's right, decades. Think of it as food insurance. While prices keep climbing, your stockpile stays ready, steady, and unbeatable. Here's the deal. Rice isn't some trendy health food. It's been keeping civilizations alive for over 1,000 years. From ancient dynasties in China to your grandma's kitchen, rice is the ultimate survivor. You can make fried rice, risotto, sushi, you name it. It turns even the laziest kitchen effort into something filling and satisfying. And with global inflation driving grocery prices through the roof, bulk buying rice now is just common sense. But don't think all rice is the same. For long-term prepping, white rice is king. Why? It's because white rice doesn't have any oils to go rancid, so it lasts way longer. Sure, brown rice is healthier, but it's a short-term game. It spoils quicker because of those natural oils. If you're serious about stockpiling, go white or go home. To keep your stash in top shape, store it properly. Use airtight containers, vacuum-sealed bags, or even add oxygen absorbers if you're hardcore about prepping. Keep pests and moisture out, and your rice will be set for the long haul. Rice isn't just food, it's survival gold. It's cheap, it's reliable, and it turns whatever scraps you have into a legit meal. Get serious about stockpiling it now or risk kicking yourself when prices skyrocket. Don't say we didn't warn you. Number 3. Peanut butter. If you're stocking up for tough times and you don't already have peanut butter in your cart, what are you even doing? This isn't just some basic spread for sandwiches. It's a survival essential you didn't know you needed. Peanut butter is high-octane fuel for your body. Packed with protein and healthy fats, a single jar is like having a mini energy powerhouse sitting in your pantry, waiting for you to get your act together. Here's why peanut butter is the MVP of your stockpile. First, it doesn't need refrigeration. Seriously, zero. Whether the power's out or your fridge is maxed out, peanut butter stays perfectly fine for months, sometimes even longer if unopened. That alone makes it a beast in terms of shelf stability. Need another reason? Fine. Think about this. During World War II, soldiers relied on it for energy during combat. If it can keep them going through literal warfare, it can definitely get you through whatever's coming next month. And don't just think about survival here. Imagine rationing food, feeling stressed, and you whip out a spoonful of creamy or crunchy peanut butter. That one bite? Instant mood booster. It's like comfort in a jar, except it actually offers you real energy to keep pushing forward. Plus, it's crazy versatile. Spread it on crackers, stir it into oatmeal, slather it on a slice of bread with some banana. Heck, eat it straight out of the jar. I'm not judging, and it works for everyone. Kids, adults, picky eaters. Peanut butter doesn't discriminate. Pro tip for buying? Go with the natural kind. Skip the ones overloaded with sugar or weird additives. The simpler the ingredients, the better it'll store. Oh, and don't bother with those tiny jars. Grab the big ones. Stockpile like you mean it. Because trust me, when next month rolls around and things get dicey, you'll be digging into that peanut butter and thanking yourself you listened to this advice. Don't overthink it. Just do it. 4. Cooking oil. The kitchen lifeline you can't overlook. All right, let's get real about cooking oil. You probably use it every single day, yet it's one of the most overlooked items when people start building their stockpile. Big mistake. Without cooking oil, your entire kitchen plan could crumble. Think about it. How are you going to sauté those beans you've stored or fry up that rice you've stocked to perfection? You can forget about making a decent meal without it. Cooking oil is like the fuel in your car. Without it, everything just grinds to a miserable halt. Here's the kicker. Cooking oil prices are climbing faster than you can say, supply chain issues. Thanks to global problems like droughts and export restrictions, oil is becoming a hot commodity. Indonesia, the largest palm oil exporter in the world, recently cut back on exports, and guess what? That sent shockwaves through the market. Your wallet probably already felt it. That's why stocking up now, not next month, is the smarter move. Think ahead, or you'll pay the price. Literally. But don't just grab any random bottle off the shelf. Not all oils are made equal. Stick to ones with a longer shelf life, like olive oil and canola oil. Olive oil, if you store it correctly in a cool, dark spot, can last up to 2 years unopened. Canola oil gives you about a year. Beats the heck out of short-lived stuff like butter or lard. Oh, and pro tip, you can actually freeze cooking oil to make it last even longer. It won't solidify all the way, but it'll stay fresh and ready to use. Here's a fun fact to slap on the table. During World War II, cooking oil wasn't just used for food. It was an essential ingredient in making explosives. Yeah, that's how critical it was. Fast forward to today, and it's still one of the most versatile items you can stash. Cook with it, preserve food, or even make emergency candles if you're really in a pinch. This stuff isn't optional. It's survival gold. Bottom line, stockpile cooking oil like your ability to make good meals depends on it. Because it does. Don't just buy one bottle, grab enough to last months. Number 5, sugar. Let's talk about sugar. It's not just that thing you throw into your coffee to make mornings bearable. It's a survival must-have. Seriously, sugar is more than just a pantry staple. It's a stockpiler's dream. Here's why. First, sugar has an insane shelf life. When stored properly, it basically never goes bad. That's right, that bag of sweetness sitting in your pantry right now, it could outlast your canned beans and even your vacuum-sealed pasta. Sugar doesn't spoil because it's a hygroscopic superhero. It absorbs moisture, and without moisture, bacteria and mold just can't survive. This makes sugar one of the most reliable items you can have on hand when chaos strikes. Now, sugar isn't just about making dessert. Nope, it's a true multi-tool of the kitchen and beyond. Of course, it's great for baking cookies, cakes, and all those comfort foods you crave. But did you know sugar also helps preserve jams and jellies, or even brew homemade drinks like kombucha? It's the quiet, unsung hero behind so many DIY essentials. But wait, you think you're done? Sugar's talents go way beyond the kitchen. It can save the day in all kinds of weird, unexpected ways. Got some hardened bread? Toss in a sugar cube to bring it back to life. Cookies getting stale? Sugar steps in to keep them fresh. Oh, and here's a wild hack. Sugar can even soothe minor burns. Bet you didn't see that coming. And if you're really in a pinch, sugar can even start a fire. Yeah, mix it with potassium permanganate and you've got yourself a survival-grade spark. Talk about versatility. Now, don't think you can just toss sugar on a shelf and forget about it. If sugar absorbs too much moisture, it clumps up and turns into an unusable mess. Gross. Keep it in an airtight container, far from heat and humidity, and you'll extend its life indefinitely. Store it smart and sugar will never fail you. Packing sugar into your stockpile isn't just smart, it's non-negotiable. It's not just a sweet treat, it's a survival weapon, a kitchen savior, and a way to stay prepared for anything. If sugar isn't already on your must-buy list, you're doing it wrong. Stock up, seal it right, and thank yourself later. Number 6. Beans. Yes, beans. Probably the most underrated item in the grocery store, yet one of the smartest things you can have in your pantry. Why? Because beans are absolute nutritional beasts. They're loaded with protein, packed with fiber, and they fill you up better than most overpriced snacks or fancy trendy foods. Plus, they're not just good for keeping you full, they actively support your digestive health. Fiber, protein, and nutrients all rolled into one humble little legume. But here's the kicker. Beans are linked to lowering cholesterol levels and even reducing your risk of heart disease. That's right, these tiny little powerhouses might just be keeping your heart ticking longer. And if that's not enough, they're insanely versatile. You can toss beans into pretty much any dish. Hearty soups? Spicy chili? Obviously. Creamy dips? Of course. Oh, and if you're feeling experimental, yeah, you can throw black beans into brownies. Trust me, it works. They're also ridiculously practical. Not only are they cheap, like really cheap, but they last for what feels like forever. Stockpiling beans means you've got a long-lasting, reliable source of protein when meat prices skyrocket or fresh produce becomes impossible to find. And the variety? Endless. Black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils. You won't get bored finding ways to include them in your meal. Beans are simple, affordable, and absolutely essential if you're serious about prepping your pantry. Whether it's a classic bean soup, a refreshing salad, or maybe even that wild dessert experiment, beans should be taking up more shelf space in your kitchen ASAP. Don't underestimate them. They're the quiet MVP of grocery stockpiles. Number 7, dry pasta. All right, let's cut to the chase. Dry pasta? The workhorse of your stockpile. Maybe you think it's boring. Maybe you think it's just another pantry filler. Well, think again, because this stuff is a straight-up survival MVP, and you're going to want plenty of it before next month rolls around. Here's the deal. Dry pasta is ridiculously easy to store. Seal it up in an airtight container or leave it in the original package. As long as it's in a cool, dry spot, you're golden. It'll sit there for 2 years, maybe longer, and guess what? No refrigeration needed. Unlike other foods, it doesn't throw a fit about being stored, and most pests can't be bothered with it if you do it right. How's that for low minimum? But here's where things get crazy. Dry pasta isn't just some shelf decoration, it's a legit meal warrior. Got a jar of tomato sauce rolling around? Boom, dinner's done. Got some canned chicken or tuna? You just leveled up. Dried herbs or even a pinch of salt? Yeah, that plain spaghetti just turned into a soul-warming masterpiece. No vegetables, no meat, doesn't matter. Pasta shows up and gets the job done. Ever. Single time. And trust me, people know the value of this stuff. During supply chain chaos, dry pasta vanishes from shelves like magic. Families get it, it's cheap, it's filling, and it stretches out meals when budgets are tight. Do you really want to be the person left scrambling when the shelves run dry? Newsflash, that's not a good look. Here's another thing, emergencies don't care about your fridge. Power goes out, fresh food goes bad. But dry pasta? It doesn't give a rip. Boil some water and boom, you've got comfort food in minutes while everyone else is panicking. Take this seriously. Next time you're at the store, grab a few extra bags. Go for spaghetti, penne, elbow macaroni, whatever you like. Your future self will thank you when you're not stuck choking down yet another can of beans. Trust me, pasta's the stockpile staple you'll never regret hoarding. 8. Canned mushrooms. Canned mushrooms. Seriously, are you even paying attention to this absolute pantry powerhouse? They're cheap, shelf-stable, and way more useful than you're giving them credit for. And no, they're not just for tossing on a pizza. If you don't have at least a few cans stocked up, you're missing out on a survival food that's worth its weight in gold when things go sideways. Picture this, there's a hurricane, a food shortage, or maybe just a week where you're slammed at work and didn't make it to the store. Fresh mushrooms? Forget about it. They'll be slimy in days. But canned mushrooms? They're sitting there like a good friend that's always got your back, waiting patiently for months or even years, and still packing that earthy, rich flavor. And the versatility? Unreal. These little fungi are flavor sponges, meaning whatever you cook them with, they're soaking it all in and elevating your whole meal. Throw them in a steamy bowl of soup, stir them into pasta, Dump them on a homemade pizza, or just sauté them in some butter and garlic for an instant win of a side dish. Whatever you've got in your pantry, these mushrooms will team up with it and make you feel like a genius in the kitchen. Here's the kicker. They cost basically nothing. A can of mushrooms is ridiculously affordable, and guess what? You won't end up chucking half of them into the trash like you do with fresh produce. No soggy, moldy leftovers here, just pure utility. And don't think it's just about convenience. These little guys are secretly loaded with the good stuff. Selenium, potassium, and other nutrients your body needs to keep running strong. Immunity, energy, overall health. Canned mushrooms are quietly doing all that while you've been sleeping on them. Stop underestimating canned mushrooms. Grab a few cans now, because when fresh food isn't an option, these handy, humble little heroes will save your dinner, your wallet, and maybe even your sanity. Number 9. Oats. All right, don't roll your eyes just yet. You're probably thinking, oats? Really? Yes, oats. Those unassuming flakes are the underdog of grocery staples, and if you're brushing past them in the store, you're making a mistake. I'm here to tell you why oats deserve a permanent spot in your stockpile. First off, oats aren't just a breakfast thing. Sure, they'll make you a mean bowl of oatmeal, a classic survival food that's hot, filling, and keeps you going for hours. But there's so much more than that. You can bake them into cookies, pancakes, muffins, or even crunch them up into easy granola. And if you're feeling fancy, grind them into flour. Suddenly you've got a reliable, gluten-free alternative for baking cakes, breads, or even thickening soups and stews. Now let's talk about why oats are stockpile royalty. Storage. These bad boys have an insane shelf life when stored properly. Think airtight containers and a cool, dry place. We're talking years, not months, years. While your expensive pre-packaged snacks are growing stale, your oats are sitting there, pristine and ready to fuel your next meal, tomorrow or 5 years down the line. And get this, during World War II, oats were a lifeline for soldiers. Lightweight, easy to carry, and non-perishable, they were the ultimate battlefield fuel. If oats were tough enough to survive wartime and powered troops through chaotic conditions, they can absolutely handle your pantry chaos. Or doomsday prep if that's your vibe. Here's the deal. They're cheap, versatile, and nearly indestructible when it comes to storage. Whether you're meal prepping for the week, baking for a potluck, or bracing for whatever's next, oats deliver. Don't underestimate them. Stock up now and thank me later. Number 10. Salt. Let's get real for a second. Salt. That plain white stuff sitting in your pantry that you barely think about. It's so cheap, so common, you probably don't even consider it when prepping for tough times. Well, big mistake. Salt is not just your everyday kitchen staple. It's survival gold. If you're building a stockpile and you're skipping over salt, you're doing it wrong. Here's why. First off, food without salt? Gross. Think about it. Unsalted soup, bland scrambled eggs, flavorless meat? No thanks. Salt isn't just seasoning, it's food's best friend. It brings flavors to life and turns boring meals into something you actually want to eat. But here's the kicker. Salt does way more than make your food taste better. Salt is a preservation powerhouse. Forget your fridge or freezer for a second. Back in the day, before all our modern gadgets, salt was a lifesaver. Literally, people used it to preserve meat, fish, and even vegetables for months. Why? Because salt sucks the moisture right out of food, and without moisture, bacteria don't stand a chance. If you've been slacking on stocking up because you have a freezer, you're betting too much on electricity. Salt doesn't need power, salt gets the job done. And the benefits don't stop there. Salt is like a Swiss Army knife in your pantry. Got a wound? Salt water can help clean it out. Need to scrub nasty stains off a kitchen tool? Salt has your back. Its uses are practically endless. Better yet, it never spoils. Ever. Store it in a dry spot and it'll be sitting pretty for decades. Here's the deal. Not all salt is created equal. Don't just grab table salt and think you're ready for the apocalypse. Stock up on coarse salt, rock salt, or kosher salt too. These varieties are perfect for curing meat or fermenting vegetables. Skills you'll definitely want to have if supply chains start breaking down or food prices keep climbing. Look, prepping doesn't have to be expensive, and salt is dirt cheap right now, but who knows how long that'll last. If there's one thing you absolutely need to add to your shopping list today, it's salt. Trust me, you'll thank yourself when the shelves are empty and you're pulling out beef jerky or pickles you made yourself. Don't blow it. Stockpile salt now.